Hey everybody, today we're taking a look at Transformers Generations Fall of Cybertron Deluxe Sideswipe. You can see him in his packaging there. You see awesome artwork of him up there. You see the car mode. It says Sideswipe Fall of Cybertron. He's the 11th figure in this series. Come over to the back here. You see him in the robot mode and the Cybertronian racer mode with his extending battle cannon attached, which we all know is the Path Blaster. And he's got his G1 tech specs and a little read-up that says, Sideswipe could have been a legend. Before the war, he was an up-and-comer sought after in half the racing circuits on Cybertron, but his reckless nature and win-at-all-cost attitude washed him out of every league he joined. He's in the Autobots for a chance at redemption and a chance to bring back the Cybertron he remembers. The one thing I find very cool is, I'm not entirely too sure because I know Jazz used the Path Blaster and images we saw for previews of Fall of Cybertron the game, and I know that his type of class, when you play online, is the only one that gets to use the Path Blaster, so it's kind of cool how they kind of stuck with that, and I really appreciate they didn't just give us some kind of, real crappy weapon. And there's things about him that I want to mention real quick. As you can see up here, he's got wheels on his shoulders and different kind of molded parts here, because this is just a reuse of the Jazz mold. But let's open him up and really get more into that. Now, with him out of the packaging and in his robot mode, we can see he has a huge gun here. The Path Blaster is very, very large as compared to the rest of the figure. Now, one thing I could say different about this mold as compared to the Jazz one, he doesn't have as many loose joints. Like my left arm on my Jazz figure was very, very loose. That could just be, an accident on the manufacturing line. And it happens with all figures. There's so many reviews that I've seen where people talk about the same exact figure. And they say, oh, well, these are loose, and this is loose, and this is loose. And other people say, oh, they're all nice and tight. So things like that really never go into an account for me when I'm picking up a figure, because they don't really seem to have similar problems like other people do with their figures. Now, on the upside, he does look very cool. I like the new chest here. They remolded that for us to give us more or less a proper car look, but he is still, he is Jazz. So here's Sideswipe. I'll stand him up real quick here. And then there's Jazz. And you can clearly see here, obviously, this is the same exact mold as him. They just repainted it, gave us a new chest, gave us a new head sculpt, a new weapon, and some other minor things. As you can see, the back is completely different now because he's Jazz and this is Sideswipe, which I think they did a pretty good job on, honestly. I like this Sideswipe figure. It works for me for Fall of Cybertron. But you could definitely tell, this is what I was talking about in the packaging, how you could see he has the wheels up here, or he's supposed to have the wheels up here, and some other different detailing. This is supposed to be a little bit smaller and down here, but that's kind of hard to do when you're using the Jazz mold for this guy. And he's supposed to have two things that really come up here, which it looks like maybe they kind of tried to do, but they didn't succeed all too well with it. But regardless, he does look pretty neat. His articulation is just about the same as Jazz's. He can rotate 360 degrees at his head on a ball joint there, go forward and back, left and right, good. Goes like this on a ball joint, completely around, goes out, goes in, bend at the elbow on a ratchet joint, and he can go a fair amount back, ball jointed hands so you can curl in and rotate completely around. No waist articulation. Hips are on ball joints, out and in, forwards and back, ratchet at the knee, a very weak one, same as Jazz's. And you can come right here and ratchet the feet, but that's more or less because of transformation, though it does help with his articulation. And right below that ball jointed hip, like most figures nowadays, there's a little swivel. It's not quite effective, but it is there for your liking. Anyways, this is Sideswipe, and just for another size comparison, well, now that Jazz fell over, I'll just move him out of here. There's FoC Grimlock, the Voyager class, and obviously this is his Dino mode, so if you have Grimlock, now you can see how tall he actually is in robot mode. But I think you got the point with Jazz more or less, because Jazz is literally the same exact height. And over here on his gun, there's two little gimmicks with it, which I guess are cool. When you select to choose this weapon, when you're playing multiplayer online, his arm comes out and it transforms into the weapon. That's whether you play as Bumblebee or whatever class you make. When you choose the Path Blaster, it transforms into his arm, and then you see this extend. So I think that's kind of the reasoning behind it. Well, obviously that's just how they created the gun in the game. And one other gimmick is over here. This is like the barrel, I guess, where ammunition comes out. You can hear that ratchet. This piece turns with this, so that's kind of cool. Not terrible, but it is a really large gun for him. And there is a peg on the side here, so if you would like to, you can store it there, like so, and maybe curl in his arm and have this hanging over so it looks like his whole arm transformed into it. But regardless, huge gun, and it will weigh him down until you get, you know, his legs in some kind of proper positioning. You know, now he's kind of angled back more instead of straight up, but regardless, I do enjoy the gun. Now, transformation is the same as Jazz's, and it's pretty simple, so I'm just going to do it regardless, just because I haven't done it in a while. So, you want to separate those, ratchet these back completely. You'll see a little tab right here. Slot those together, rotate the arms 180, tab them in to this paneling right here, push the arm back, do the same exact thing over here. I'm sorry, push his fist back, not his arm. Now you have this, pull this apart. Now once you do that, this should all just lift this, I guess that's a hood or roof section you want to call that. His head should tuck down in here, but for some reason it's not doing it for me. There we go. Push that all back. Bring the legs back. Now you don't want to start at the hips and bring them back. You want to just bring these ball joints from that section, rotate that back like so. And that is one thing I'm noticing right now. This tab section is a lot better than on Jazz's. Jazz's doesn't really tab in too securely. So you put that there. Bring this around. Oh, up here on the shoulder, you want to pop this over. Which, wow, that's a really stiff joint compared to Jazz's. that's much better. Oh, well now I popped it off the ball joint. Why is this not working for me? There we go. Pop that over like that. Make sure that stays in. Swing this over, and just like on Jazz, there's a little tab right here and a tab slot right in the back of the car. Pop that in. Do the same exact thing over here. Rotate that over so these two pieces are connected. Bring it in. Tab that in. And now we have Sideswipe in his car mode. Now that, my friends, is very cool looking. Now here's where the figure truly shines for me, because now I have this awesome looking car. I mean, we still have the visible hand syndrome. It's not going to be able to do anything about that because this is the Jazz mold. But now here's where you see the differences. Clearly now, this is Jazz and this is Sideswipe. The molding here, it just makes it completely different. If I originally just received this, I mean, obviously it wouldn't take me long to figure out that it's the Jazz mold here, but it looks completely different. A whole new molded section here, though it does have its similarities to this. Now, we don't have the same spoiler, that's new. We got all new detailing here, that's not here. This is more kind of straight up molding, as to where this is angled windows here, if you want to classify those as windows. And the whole new chest, stripes going here. So now this molding, this is honestly what he looks like in the game. Not identical in paint job, it's pretty damn close, but it's not near perfect at all, but it does the job. It's very nice looking, and it makes it very different from Jazz, as opposed to the robot modes. All you have is a new head sculpt, new paint job, and they fixed the chest for you and made that semi-different. And with this path blaster here, you can just pop that in, or extending battle cannon as they call it. You're not going to be able to use the one he uses in his hand because it's just too darn friggin' big. Let me see, no. You're going to have to use the side one that I put in his forearm. So you could put it like this, you could turn it around, and that untabbed, there's that. Let's do the roof, I suppose, and we have that kind of goofy looking thing, and there's that. So yeah, that's his giant extending battle cannon, and this is very stiff in here, by the way. I can't see kids having a lot of fun with that. But we'll pull that out, and that's that. But really, the car is what I'm all about here. This is really the whole reason that got me sold on picking up this figure, is because the car just is obviously different than Jazz's. And right here on Jazz, if you can see that little white dot right there, yep, that ratchet joint is cracking a little bit, and that's going to suck because this guy's probably going to break on me. Oh well, what are you going to do? Thanks, Hasbro. I'm going for Takara next. Now for transformation back, very similar as Jazz. Again, open this up, pop these out, bring those completely forward, come under here, extend the legs out, and when you do that, that'll lift up back there. And now you can just separate this here. When you do that, that should give you access to expose the head. Bring that out. Make sure you bend this enough, because if you don't, it's not going to tab in. Which I don't know if it does too securely. Where are the tabs on this actually? Oh, they're just little slots right here, I guess, that go into here. So you just